Don't drink and drive while nibbling on a bone. Still taking my clothes off in 2019. Like, subscribe, ID in the Discovery Channel. Yes, ID in the Discovery Channel. The links are provided below. Get that Discovery Go app as well as that ID Go app. You might want to get those two things, combine them, make them into one. When I said that I'm still wearing the same clothes I've been wearing for the past 5 years, anybody notice that? Every outfit that I wear, I'm going to make a video about that. Or did I already make it? I can't remember, right? Every outfit that I wear is in fact black. And yet they're all the same. Every day of the week. Black pants, black shirt. It's in the closet. That's a metaphor. So, yes. 60 deaths in a serial killer. Now reading from the Bible. So, 60 deaths in a serial killer. Location, Dallas, Texas. A prolific serial killer right here in the U.S. Did you get that? There's various, every time I hear the word prolific, it's always somebody better in killing or something like that. That's what prolific means, right? There's others, individuals outside of this individual, right? A prolific serial killer right here in the U.S. has been linked to over 60 deaths. 60. This was admitted by a Texas prosecutor. That a California inmate of 79 years old. That's interesting how a person can live all these years and what comes out later, as in what falls out later, right? Inmate of 79 years old is tied to cold cases, which goes back as far as the 1970s. You're looking at him. That old man. The serial killer being held in question is his name, Samuel Little. I paused and jumped when I said that because my next story involves another little person. You'll find out, right? Samuel Little, he has been cooperating with investigators. Such was stated by Ector County District Attorney Bobby Bland. Where's my volume at? It's like I can hear, but I can't. Samuel Little is being questioned. Yes, in relation to 5 women he may have killed in and from Ohio. Still reading from the Bible on this Sunday. So far, Little pleaded guilty in relation to the deaths and killing of a Texas woman. And he too was convicted of killing 3 women from Los Angeles. Currently, Little is serving a life sentence in California. This man's case is all over the place, right? Yeah, it ain't a plea. Yeah, because I'll speak on more of that later. So, Mr. Samuel Little being held accountable in 93 deaths, you ask? I have a lisp, as in it's there, but it hangs off in a sense when I say. You see Michael Jackson's face? Michael Jackson's face will more likely appear in every video from here on out, because to know that Discovery just bought Killing Michael Jackson, the documentary. Discovery bought that. Let me pause so I can say that. When you see Michael Jackson's face, it is in fact there because Discovery acquired, yes, Killing Michael Jackson, the documentary. And not only that, I promote Janet Jackson, so that's so well off as well, as in I need that to be stuck with that, right? Killings are happening, and yet they're questionable. So until we figure it out and all resolve, it has to stay. So Mr. Samuel Little being held accountable in 93 deaths, you ask? I just said that. Little lived his life as more of a wanderer when it's in question of, well, what was his history and his past? What was his life like in relation to him killing others? He was more of a wanderer, but there's a bigger terminology for that. Usually they call individuals like that nomads, right? That includes living in various places at once and not settling in one place or space permanently, right? He claims to be responsible in the killing of 93 women. That is a lot of women. Think about 93 people. Would you yourself ever consider 93 people and killing. That's a lot of, one person is a lot of person. That's not laughable, and yet I just be trying to figure out 93 persons. See how I said that? That's the laughable part. It's not the dying that's laughable. No. 93 persons is a lot of person. Figure that sort of thing out. I'm saying the mindset of people. That's a bit extreme in the 93. That's in fact laughable because in a sense of not the dying. Don't miss the Q part, what I'm saying. But who thinks that way? To be piling up bodies. Yeah, his mindset, let's be honest, is quite laughable. If it's sickness there, that's not laughable. That ain't ever gonna work. The clown support with that killing 93 people. Who 93 women at that? Who does that sort? 93. Is that or is that not about the size of a classroom? Not 93 people. Depending on the school. The mindsets. So, yes, he claims to be responsible in the killing of 93 women, as all occurred during his travels throughout the years across the country. I'm just, yeah. Some people, they take life as if it's a joke or something, right? That's why when I say it's laughable, because that shows I'm saying the individual up above my head to not consider who does that. Let me let that go, because I have in fact made videos on people who have killed more, and yet some of that trips my mind up is what you fail to get, dear viewer. It was stated by Bland that Little is in very poor health. That's no excuse. And he can no longer, when it comes to the appeals, he has overstayed his welcome in appeals. That's what it's getting to. That poor health is whatever. Prosecutors claim Little was the one involved and responsible for over 40 killings, which stems back to the 1980s. Mr. Little's trial back in 2014 is where prosecutors claims of such. Mr. Little's trial back in 2014 is where prosecutors made claims of what it is I just stated. The deaths in question linked to Little, the states in which two were in question includes Texas, Kentucky, Missouri, Florida, Louisiana, and Georgia. I'm running out of fingers in that, as in it's off the charts, and my maneuver, as in when I'm counting these states. Did I say cities or states? Something like that. I'm pointing in fingers, and yet they're not there, right? Because I didn't do that right. You got that. In deaths of Little's victims, very little evidence was left on the bodies of his victims, but it is a known fact, that he either strangled or suffocated the women. Let me put my hands down, because that's too much going on. Ain't that too much going on my plasma screen right before your eyes, that moving and all the rest, right? So, rewinding. It's a known fact that he either strangled or suffocated the women, which too leads to investigators pointing to the deciding factor of the women, as in how they died, whether they died by natural causes or overdoses. That isn't written right. I'm saying my wording. I might need to go back to the drawing board, because how I wrote, to do two things at once, as I say, is going to end up on the paper, as in what you don't never read and write. Don't write on the phone. Don't be writing what it is you need to write while reading other things that's outside. as well as kept catching up, yes, in the reading on the story, on the retail. Because let me stop for a second and put a lesson in. Did you know that if you're sitting on social media and you're trying to write a story, and if you're checking in on other things, such as other people, like some people like to do, right? Tune in and watch gossip and all the rest. Did you know sometimes as you're reading that and you're typing whatever you need to do, whatever you're reading could in fact end up in your writing? Some people don't know that. If I, let me use a good example. If I'm trying to find out whether Oprah and Gail has had a lesbian relationship, right? Despite me being with Discovery, that's questionable. If I'm reading on that and I'm writing in paper, that's to say that Oprah's love affair and Gail's love affair could end up in my work. That's a loose string. No, because I was writing a joke, right, which sells Oprah off, and yet I was doing a joke in which I'm telling right now, and yet some type of way my writing is all over the place, all over the field. Doesn't I just do it out there for what it's worth? So let me go back. But it is known for a fact that he either strangled or suffocated the women, which too led to investigators pointing to the deciding factor of the women. Yes, if they've died of natural causes or overdoses. Bland states, no false information refutes all. There is nothing in which doesn't break the possibility of what all occurred. Yes, by Little killing his victims. The interesting thing about being a writer is reading from the paper. Who don't know that sort of thing? When somebody said, well, it looks odd that you're reading from paper. Yeah, because even it says in my description, I'm a writer. It didn't say I'm a host full of float where I just stand and look at you. It's like, okay, I need to be able, I need my eyes on. I need my eyes on when I'm on here is what I'm trying to say. So questions. Black serial killers. They know where I'm going with this. Such as even some of my haters when they say, well, you know, even hate can kill you quicker than death itself. Did you know that, dear viewer? Yeah, leave a comment in the comments section in relation to where I'm about to go. Black serial killers, my haters would know about that sort of thing. Such stories as this paints blacks as just as equal in serial killings as whites can be in serial killings. No race is in fact exempt in what I just said. Anything is possible in any race. We are often told, well, I growing up was told what race could do more killings. Because see, media serves its place here in the atmosphere and world. Tune in with that, right? However you choose, right? May it be global and youthful with that. Ask Janet Jackson. She's up there somewhere, right? I said I promote her. But yeah, see, you grow up and then you're told that some races can do this more than other races. And when you turn on the TV and turn on the channel, you often see that sort of thing. And yet what goes on behind the scenes away from any camera, such as individuals that you and I, dear viewer, don't know, is that some of these people of all races and nationalities and all rest have been killing since the 70s and even before. Ask a 79-year-old man who's black, right? That's to say, not just all white people kill. Not just all Italians kill. That's lethal injection in itself. I just did a handout with a serve with that, right? But we all on this earth are likely to do anything, right? All races have killed equally. If you do your research, you will find out that all races have been known to kill equally in history. Because if I go back to Europe and find out, and I go back to Africa to find out, it's to say everybody has been warring since the beginning of time. So never, that's breaking news for you. So don't never think that one race is entirely fueled in guilt. Everybody is. Questions. I'm in question of why didn't Little use some other means of murder? He has a twin, because I seen somebody that looked like him. Hopefully it wasn't him, right? That's what. Can't take a joke. Some people can't, which is why I had to get away from those people, because they piss me off. Some losers come on here and say things and piss me off, and I have to go off. That's a whack job in the mouth. And then I have to go more serious. That's why I don't crack jokes a lot of times on this camera, because not everybody can take it. As in, they're fake. Moving on. I'm in question of why didn't Little use some other means of murder outside of just strangulation and overdoses. Maybe he could have used more. Question that. Because serial killers are in fact lethal, yes. But serial killers, I'm saying there's options with that. When you hear serial killers, certain ones, or majority of them, has their killing style, right? Killing style. Serial killers often hold their own methods of killing victims. Oftentimes they hold favorite techniques while in disregard of their victims. They have their favorite strategies, and many of them that have planned use favorite strategies even in planning, right? Serial killers hold so many options and ways of killing victims if and when they hold their favorite tactics. I just said that twice. They have many options. That's the standout keyword. Their YouTube, feed it to the Q. The keyword. They hold their favorite tactics in killing, right? All shows just how psychology works. People have habits, right? I question even serial killers' habits. Have you yourself, dear viewer, leave me a comment section. Have you ever questioned the habits of serial killers as in what they do in their day-to-day life outside of killing? Or maybe they just kill from the moment they wake up to the time they go to bed. Some of these individual stories are not completely there in the proof, as in there could be more victims out there. Always remember I said that always remember I said that there could in fact be more victims out there. That's a hush on my own end, feeding you the story, right? Because to get away with killing just one individual, 93 individuals is a say, could be in the thousands for even Mr. Little. As in what he possibly touched, we don't know, right? Because some people have been killing since they have been in their teens. So when somebody go missing, even Mr. Little could have had something to do with that way back then. Consider that. Because, yes, to do something in secrecy is to know victims can be victimized even more. Yeah. The signs are telling with that. If you do something in secrecy, such as killing, is to say you can get away with more than just the percentage that meets the public's eyes in the form of media. Because even some serial killers more likely don't tell who all they've killed, because remember, there's serving time as an account in that. How much time you're going to serve by outing who all you done killed. So there's secrecy. Mr. Little more than likely killed more than 93 people, I can guess. Even Ted Bundy himself have killed more than, yes, the individuals. Various. Think of that. Never forget that. And it's often questionable just how much emotional abuse and or torment victims have had to endure. Some have lived to survive, right? Paper number 2. And yet it ain't a bowel movement, right? So why kill just women? Can you hear me out there? Good. Dear Mr. Little, with that's a figure in speech, because the numbers are too high for even Mr. Little. He might in fact need to change his last name to something else. It's too little for the things he do, as in a cooperation in the killing fields. Discovery Channel, I just put you out there with the killing fields. Moving on. Why kill just women? Why not kill men too? I always stand in question of the sexual preference of some of these serial killers because of their violent actions in relation to sexes, right? Even in overdoses, all is questionable in relation to their past. It is known that many serial killers, and I'm saying because If a man can go as far as killing a woman as to say he possibly could have killed some men too, I want you, the viewer, to consider that as well. I'm gonna out some things that even you possibly didn't consider. Maybe you have. I don't know. Who's to say, right? To get drunk in the mouth while standing here is to saying, yet I don't drink, right? Shouts out to the alcoholics out there. But yeah, what? That's a buyer and seller. There could be an alcoholic or two that might in fact be watching me. I'm just saying, shouts out to you. You got to know how to sell while on camera. Even selling alcohol. So that's not a promotion. No, it's not a promotion. So don't take it that far. That's a joke. That's a wise crack. So when it comes to killing women, such as males or female serial killers, yes, kill men and possibly have killed some women, right? And yet remember, the secrecy of when I'm outing is to say, why didn't Little kill men as well? He possibly could have. That's the secret. Because to know that there's jail count once again is to say you're not going to out everybody you have in fact killed, right? Samuel Little could have in fact killed men just as much as women, and yet we don't know, which is why you want to question a sexual preference of any serial killer. And I'm doing it even while I'm sitting here on camera. I do it all the time, right? The women stand in question because this points back to thrills. Yes, it also points back to anger, hatred, thrills too, again, because serial killers are known, many of them, depending on the name and despite where they reside and the reasons, right? Many of them in fact get excited on the temptation of killing another individual. There's bloodshed in that. They get excited, a thrill, and a kick out of that sort of thing, right? So to even put some of that to hatred, right? That's animalistic, the thrill, predator. Because even humans are predatory, right? Territory and predatory, right? And so the psychology up underneath a serial killer, say possibly being excited as well as going in a fit of rage, one of the two, or a mixture of two, or one without the other, and yet it's two, right? Every human on earth has a flip side, a good side, bad side, happy side, sad side, upside, downside, thrill side, rage side, or thrill side, not too far off in rage, but anger, possibly bitter, right? And so motivations in that, reasons and motivations all revolve around that, right? It seems to me, despite what is said about serial killers, because see, even that's a science, as in studying the actions and behaviors of killers, serial killers, right? But it seems to me there's always more hatred than anything underneath the killings, where some people say a evil seed, such as an individual that carries evil within themselves, right? People seem to view that as evil, as the killing nature, right? I delve in that a little in the realm of questioning, not killing people, no, but to wanting to know the percentage of evil that is there, the evil and the wickedness, as well as possible hatred with that, even if thrill is involved. When they say serial killers kill for the thrill of it, right? That sounds like a TV commercial. Don't take that too personal, what I said. Serial killers kill for the thrill of it. Doesn't that sound like a commercial? It in fact does. But I can't see any human just killing someone without there being some hatred. I don't know why that is. Because to know even childhood points in what that is to say. Every serial killer's childhood has to in fact be questioned. The behaviors, as in how they were treated, mistreated, neglected, malnourished, and all that in fact has to be questioned, right? That's going to come out later. However, their childhood is going to come out later in their killings in some form or fashion. Even their past relationships are going to come out in their killings. That's why I question the evilness as well as the hatred. Because, yes, let's rewind for the 10th time. Yes, it could be the thrill. I'm off angle. Why didn't nobody tell me that? I'm over. That's why I stare at myself in the mirror while I'm sitting here. Because I'm too far over. I'm supposed to be right here. And yet I'm all the way over here. And yet it looks good. Either way, I'm not saying I'm look good. That's not saying I'm looking good. It's just I'm not supposed to be I'm supposed to be right here. That's why it helps to watch yourself more so than looking all up at the camera like this, as people expect me to. But yeah, there's more to that. That's why I question all childhoods and these killings from the very beginning when I'm on here. Because see, some people just think the thrill is why serial killers kill, and yet who could have had a failed relationship that is a serial killer? Who could have been beat on or traumatized as a child or molested as a child as a serial killer, right? Before they became a serial killer by choice. Some people feel and say that serial killers are born, as in they're created. That's questionable, right? But hatred. Hatred has to exist. Think about it. That's the end of that. Should be, right? So, dear viewer, turn the channel on, even that, as in let me know. That's not to say walk away, no. This ain't a gift bag full of gab while I'm sitting here. Know how to advertise, right? Even in wording should in fact include punchlines. I'm more likely going to use more of them as I sit on this camera, because that's in fact how you sell with that. We are in fact on investigationdiscovery.com. ID, the logo sits in the far left corner. Should I or should I not make or break the bank and creating a video on the usage of punchlines and advertising? Some people need to do that sort of thing. Even some weak individuals. Yes, my haters to be exact, where I swim on top of their head, their Discovery Channel with that. Haters, and have in fact came and checked me because of my usage in wording, pronunciation, and all the rest, as in they can't sell themselves, and yet they get mad at me because I can sell even them better than themselves. And my story of me saying about my haters, when I say I can sell my haters better than they can sell themselves, because see, to call out and point out to a hater is a selling right there. That is in fact funny in itself. Unlocked episodes. We are in fact once again on investigationdiscovery.com. You can come here yourself to gain an audio preview, audio visual preview. Is to stay tuned in that by clicking the play button. You can gain a preview with that sort of thing. Where's my slider at? There's no slider. On last night, shouts out to Lieutenant Joe Kenda, as well as Paula with that. Yeah, that's a draw set. On last night, to gain access right here is a click right there. You're going to provide your provider as well as subscriber with that. Every time they're missing. Every time there's a loading process with this, and yet it takes time. This is in fact what happens when you have a website that belongs to you, rights and everything, intellectual property, right? More of that comes later in discussion. But this is what happens when you have a lot going on one website. Not too much going on, somewhat, but when you have a lot loading on a website, sometimes it's not there when it in fact supposed to be. Now calling customer service with that, because to say this has been printed out in my last videos, to say it more likely needs to be fixed, or it could just be my internet speed, because I have issues as well. Moving on, you can forgive Discovery, I'm sure you can, right? ID Go original series, as in take none personally. That's not to say this website looking like this is a spit in your face. That's not to say Discovery is doing that. That's a punchline as well, right? It's just a loading process is slow. Crime Feed News, crimefeed.com, and I can bet and guess that's my internet service with that. My tattoo. That's a Janet Jackson tattoo. St. Kofa, shouts out to West Africa. That's where my ancestors roam and come from. I had to get that. That's a Janet Jackson. Janet Jackson, in fact, has this St. Kofa right here, for those that don't know. It's in fact on her right wrist. Maybe I make some videos about Janet Jackson as a shout out, because to know that I'm a promoter with that is to fuel off in the game. CrimeFeedNews.com. To gain access to the crime feed is a click right within here. You would in fact be directed to the outside CrimeFeedNews.com. I had to pause because my words. Hold on. To gain access, no, that still ain't right. Cross-sectional. Why does words pop up in my head while I'm sitting here? To receive a newsletter is to type your email address in and click next. It's off season, as in where we're headed. The channel is coming to a close. I shouldn't say that. That's like self-fulfilling prophecy. This video is coming to a close. That's what I meant to say. So drop me a comment in the comment section, dear viewer. I'm off the game with that. As in no tabs involved. Keeping tabs with that. Because I know Samuel Little can't find me, as to say goodbye with that.